Rev up your engines!
Well, the old Volkswagen Passat is going to be dead after 2022. And they're making an official special edition send-off. Hey, all I got to say is they should have sent them off a long time ago. I work on those things. They're pretty junky cars. So 2022 is going to be the last model year for the Volkswagen Passat. And they're saying there's going to be 423 units that are going to be the special racing green metallic paint that's not normally available on the Passat. Well, what do they say? You know, you can paint a pig a different color, but he's still a pig. The limited edition really isn't that much. It's, you know, sales gimmick, obviously. All they're doing is putting in 15-spoke, 18-inch aluminum wheels, black mirror caps, and special seat tags inside. Plus a map in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where they build them inside the cup holders. Oh, they went all out on this one. Production of the Passat started in 2011 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, when they started making them here in the United States. And it only makes sense because the Chattanooga plant is where they're going to be making their electric cars. And they want to make a big push in electric cars, so they're shoving the Passat out. They weren't very good cars anyway as time went on. They're fun to drive when they're new, but as they age, they're endless money pits. So good thing that they're getting rid of them. And let's hope they make their electric cars better than they made their gasoline ones that they sold here in the United States. It's weird. Volkswagen, as popular it can be in Europe, people are nuts about the car. But here in the United States, we're not going to buy them. Junior 2020 says, I need a work truck. Should I get an 09 Silverado 2500 HD or 2007 F250? The 09 Silverado has a 6-liter with 67,000 original miles. The guy wants $29,900. I think that's wild. There's also an 07 F250 Power Stroke, one owner with 84,000 miles. He wants 16. Well, in that choice, I'd definitely go for the Ford. I mean, the guy's nuts with $29,900 for 09 2500. That's when they started making them poorer. The Ford in 07, they were still making pretty good engines back then and transmissions. 84,000 miles is nothing. That's $16,000 for it. It's a lot better than $29,900 for a vehicle that's, you know what, 18,000 miles less. I wouldn't even worry about it with a big thing like that. And the diesels can last a really long time. The one thing, of course, is it's a one owner, the Ford. So hey, you don't deal with 15 different people that didn't take care of it. One guy owned it, and that is probably the best one. You still want a guy like me to check it out because they're complex. Everything's electronic. My scan tools can find all that stuff. Just get it checked out. If a guy says it's good, definitely buy the Ford. I would not buy the GM at that outrageous price. That guy's got coronavirus in the head thinking that he can charge that much money for a 13-year-old Silverado. That's just insanity. But that's what people are doing these days. The guy with the Ford has more sense. Buy the Ford. Eventually things break, but the diesel engines go 300,000-400,000 miles, and the trannies go at least 150 to 200,000 miles, and it's only got 84,000 miles on it now. Dan says, I have transmission issue that leaves me absolutely clueless. I got 2011 Volvo C30 equipped with a dual clutch MP S6 Getrag 6DC transmission with 82,000 miles. It jerks when I'm in gear and slightly accelerated and often triggered after I make a turn. I have done all kinds of things. I've recalibrated the unit, tested the transmission. I couldn't get it to act up during the testing. The only code that I have is input speed sensor plausible signal. Could it be a transmission control module or a solenoid issue or a brake switch or a computer triggering random clutch disengagements? Help me. Those Volvo transmissions are insanely complex, as you found out. It could be any of those things. Those things are so insanely complex. It's one of the reasons one of my friends, who was president of the Automatic Transmission Rebuilding Association, sold his business and retired. He said, Scotty, and this was like 15 years ago. They said, Scotty, these transmissions are getting so complicated. Us rebuilding them, it's getting to be an almost impossible task without being a fortune, because at the time we might have to put 10, 20 hours on this. The customers don't want to pay all that labor. That he got out of the business because of it. It's going to have to be put on a Volvo scan tool with a Volvo mechanic who knows his stuff. Record it all. When it acts up, analyze it. Try to get down to the nitty-gritty of what's going down on it. This is why I tell people you don't want to buy cars that are that complex when they age. They cost so much money. You know, and you only got 82,000 miles on it. But On the other hand, it's all computer stuff. Computer stuff can break at any period in time. 11-year-old car, too. And electronic stuff will break down when they get to be 11 years old. That's the problem with putting all these electronics on. Maybe it's a very simple thing. A solenoid or something's gone wrong. Or the software, like you thought, is not reading right and giving wrong information to the clutches, so they start shuddering because, it's got electronic clutches in it, right? But you're going to have a Volvo guy do that. And you better find a really good one, because that's going to be like finding a needle in a haystack, which is one reason I tell people not to buy those particular cars. When they're that high technology, when they break, you seem to know a lot about transmissions, and it's kicking your butt. Not the car you really want to work on unless that's all you do, and your customers have an endless pocket that they don't worry about what it costs. They just want their car fixed. And not that many people are like that. They're watching pennies these days. Well, if you think the price of used cars has gone sky high in this coronavirus pandemic, as the saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet. In England, a 1987 Toyota Corolla, yes, a Toyota Corolla, sold for $64,000. Now, granted, it was a AE86 Corolla GT, but it was still a 1987 Toyota Corolla built at the Toyota factory. I look at the picture, it's a Toyota Corolla GT hatchback. Nothing particularly fancy other than the engine and stuff that was in it. And here's the hilarious thing. It has 93,000 miles on the odometer, and it sold for $64,000. I'm looking at pictures, the engine's dirty. It isn't like it was even a pristine car. The floor mats are worn out. Whee, maybe the English have lost their minds in this pandemic. Well, so if you think you're getting ripped off, some Englishmen just paid $64,000 for a Toyota Corolla that had 93,000 miles on it. And it wasn't even the original paint job, because somebody scratched it with key and the whole thing had to be repainted. So, I don't know. I think people are starting to lose their minds. JT89 says, I have an undiagnosed brake problem. I got an '02 Chevy Avalanche. The pedal sunk to the floor. I took it to my service technician. They replaced the master cylinder. But a month later, did the same thing and sinks. They put a master cylinder on. Here's a really good test that you can do. It could be your brake booster starting to go out. Test the booster. Don't turn the car on. Get in the car. Step on the brake a few times. Let's say it stays hard and it doesn't sink to the floor. Start the car up. When you start the car up, that activates the brake booster. The vacuum starts sucking on it. Then try it a bunch of times with the car running. If it sinks to the floor, you got a bad booster. Now, I mean, you can have problems with the ABS system that does it. There's a lot of things. If you have a leak anywhere, it'll do it, but that's obvious. You're going to see the stuff leaking out. The only thing you won't see leaking is if the brake master cylinder is leaking inside itself, but you just had that replaced. So unless you got a bad brake master cylinder, odds are it's the brake booster, and that's how you test it. Test it with the engine not on, and if you turn it on and then it sinks, the brake booster assembly. The whole booster assembly is going to need replacing. It's a 20-year-old Chevy Avalanche. It wouldn't surprise me that the thing has gone bad. But it also has anti-lock brakes, and that could do it too. If you tested it and there's no difference between a car running and not running, odds are it's not the booster. That it could be something in the ABS system. You have to pay a mechanic like me to check that, because that's very complex. It requires a bidirectional scan tool to test valves, very complex stuff. But normally it's the booster. Your brother Yeoman said, okay, that refers to the York Yeomen. I went to the University in Toronto, but they changed it to the York Lions. I don't know. They didn't like the name Yeoman. What the heck's wrong with that, But they changed it to the Lions, so now they're Lions instead of Yeomen. He says, I found a 2016 loaded F-150 Lariat with a 5-liter engine. It's a beautiful truck, but they want $30,000 and it has 280,000 kilometers on it. Truck market is crazy. Should I go for it? Well, you're like stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Now, it is 30,000 Canadian, so that's less in American, but still, for a car that's got, like more than 150,000 miles on it, as far as I'm concerned, that's insane. Maybe you ought to come down. You can cross the border now, right? Maybe you should come down here to Tennessee. You can find lots of them a lot cheaper than that and bring them back to Canada. That might not be a bad idea, or if you want to leave all the taxes up there in Canada, maybe move down to Tennessee, Yeah, the prices have gone insane. Like you say, with trucks, even doubly so. So, I mean, it could be a good truck, but it's an awful lot of mileage. There's no way I'd pay 30,000 Canadian dollars for a truck with that kind of mileage. That's just crazy. You know, it's just absolutely crazy. But, you know, you got to look at the prices and what's out there. That's what I'm telling people. Don't buy a used car now if you don't have to. If you got something you can string it along longer, go ahead, because people are asking outrageous prices. They've just lost their minds totally. And there's no way I'd pay that kind of money with that kind of mileage on a vehicle. That's just, you know, absolutely insane. That's just wild. No way would I pay that kind of money. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.